very, very special purpose. But before we begin, I am going to tell you a few statements, and those of you who agree with me can raise their hand. Okay, and just show us how many of you agree with this. So these are statements on your behalf that I'm saying. I sometimes feel pressure while studying due to expectations set by myself or by my parents. Okay, thank you. Next is, I hardly get any time to pursue my hobby. Okay. Even if I study quite hard for my exams, I do not always score as per my expectations. Okay. I am not clear about what I will choose as my career option. If I know what option I am going to choose, I don't know how to reach there. Because of so much pressure, I sometimes go blank in my exams. Sometimes, yeah. Okay, thank you so much. I know most of you would be very honest, but some of them were also very unsure whether to raise my hand or not. That happens, which is perfectly okay. You don't worry here because we've got your back. To address all these issues and many, many more, we have with us here today Mr. Andrew Williams, who has come all the way from Portland to meet students, parents and educators in Ahmedabad. John is an author, writer, teacher, a master coach and a founder of Academic Life Coaching. His three main areas of work include academic life coaching, health and wellness coaching and executive coaching. He's been a former writer with Newsweek, authored 5 books and has been a keynote speaker for conferences in New York to Dubai. He aims to redesign education to help students gain self-knowledge, make better decisions and learn effective ways of motivation. Let's welcome John with a huge round of applause. I request our principal to present him with a memento and a courtesy sapling. Thank you, sir. Individually, we are a drop, but together, we are an ocean. To help John in achieving his vision, we have with us here today Mr. Satish Chelappa and Ms. Ankita Chelappa joining us. Mr. Satish is an alumni of Columbia Business School, New York, and has been a corporate banker for 15 years before turning to entrepreneurship. He is now an academic life coach from CTE, USA. Ms. Ankita is an alumna of Warwick Business School, UK. She is an HR expert with 16 years of corporate experience and a businesswoman. She is also a trained mindfulness practitioner and an academic life coach from CTE, USA. We welcome you both. I request Caesar sir to present them both with the memento and the courtesy sapling to show our love and appreciation.
So I taught 7th through 12th grade, and I did that for 6 years, and then I found life coaching. But also, I'm from Portland, Oregon. So next slide. The Oregon Trail. Who's heard of the Oregon Trail? Right, the wagons, the covered wagons, they start from Independence, Missouri, and they make their way up through Portland, Oregon. So I'm at the end of the trail. I'm at the place where everyone wishes they were at. And go this to the next slide. So that's my backyard. There's my family there. They're playing chess. And there's the Hood River right there, and that's the Hood River Gorge. On the other side is the Columbia Gorge. That's Oregon. Oregon welcomes you. Or I guess Oregon says hi. You're welcoming me. Here we go. All right, next slide. Next slide. All right, so what is life coaching? I'm an academic life coach. This is what life coaching is. We're going to go through this quite quickly, and then we'll get to a couple exercises, and we'll see how far we get. I do want to spend some time on one of the growth mindsets, so we'll spend some time on 1 or 2 slides here. So life coaching is a process where you gain clarity on what you really want, and you design your life to achieve it. How many here know what you really want? What is it you're really truly after? Yes?
So I want to be a scientist.
Excellent, you want to be a scientist. What about being a scientist is the most exciting thing to you?
So my exciting thing being a scientist is I like to explore more things.
You like to explore more things and learn?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. And what kind of quality in yourself, in being a scientist, what do you know that you need to do in order to become a scientist?
I need to practice science.
And?
I don't know.
All right, here we go. We'll get to it. All right, next slide. So life coach started with sports psychology. So a lot of this, how many here play sports? Yes. Everyone plays sports. In order to be good at sports, what do you need to do? What do you need to do to be good at sports? Practice. What else? Yes. Do what?
Hard work.
Practice, hard work. Mental fitness and physical fitness. Absolutely. What does mental fitness mean? What's mental fitness? Yes. Yes.
So mental fitness is we should have. If I'm a captain, then I know what to do with my players. I can keep them in different positions. Or else, if I'm a badminton player and I'm playing solo, so then I should know when to hit, how to control the cock, like that.
Absolutely. Look at that. Thank you. This is an amazing audience.
Yeah.
We're gonna have fun. This is
Smart children.
I'm impressed. Deeply impressed. Nicely done. So here we are, right? So, with all that passion, right? So what if, I imagine you do this, if you were to look at your studies, right? If you were to look at what you're trying to accomplish in a classroom, and looked at it with as much or the same kind of approach, that you would take the approach of sports and apply it to your studies, what would change? If you were to look at your studies like your sport, what changes? Someone in the back, I thought I saw. Yes?
So the thing is that in sports, the thing about like the mental fitness can also relate to studies, because in sports, like if you're under pressure, you could maybe have some sort of like mental breakdown or something like that. And same way in studies, if you have like loads of homework and things to study, then you need to learn how to control your mind and like let all that pressure get off, and then you can study better.
You're more advanced than the parents. I was working with the parents a couple days ago, and they didn't come up with these answers. You were more advanced than a lot of viewers. This is impressive. Absolutely, yes. So the idea is that you approach the same way that you would look at sports, right? The same way, the same level of intensity. When you apply that to your studies, this is the beginning of life coaching. So there's a book. Let's go to the next slide. Timothy Galloway, The Inner Game of Tennis. He published this book in 1977. This is the book that sort of broke open a lot of what was happening in the sports psychology movement. Basically, it's that. It's what you said. It's applying the same sort of mental energy to, it's paying as much attention to the inner game as the outer exercises or drills that you do. Let's go to the next slide here. So Radhika, she is a sports psychologist based out of Mumbai. She says, in the case of the human mind, there isn't a one-size-that-fits-all. Hence, each individual athlete has to work out his or her pre-competition routine. So let's talk about routines, because that's an important piece. Right, it's routine. Another word for routine is habit. So you know, like when you're studying, right, you get home from school, you're looking at this, and you get home from school. How many of you have a get home from school routine? What is your get home from school routine? What do you usually do?
So when I get back from school, normally I just change my clothes, freshen up. Then if I have some work to do, maybe I'll finish that. And then after that, I go to my classes and then
Get your homework done right away, right?
Yeah.
So you go home, change, freshen up, get a snack.
Yeah.
Am I on the right page? And then you immediately do your hardest homework first, right?
Yeah.
You immediately do the hardest thing first. Am I right? Or do you watch TV? Oh no, don't watch TV. I don't have a TV in my house. For real, I don't have one. But when I was your age, I did. Yeah, I did. And when I was your age, I did watch TV. That's one thing I wish I could go back and do. But if you do, yeah, we got rid of our TV. Here's the idea. So when you're looking at a pre-routine, right, when you're looking at a lot about sports, there are three things. There's practice, there's pre-routine, and there's post-routine. Right, there's performance. The thing about practice is that's something you do most of the time, I would imagine, in school, is you're practicing. You're practicing the concepts, you're practicing what you need. But it's the pre-routine. It's looking at the little spaces in your life. When you get home from school, what's your habit set? What are the habits that you want? And if you really truly want to achieve something, like really truly, if you really want to be a scientist, if you really want to write a book, if you really want to do anything, you're looking at the routine, and it's in the spaces between activities. That's when you have the biggest leverage point. Let's go to the next slide. So positive psychology. We're going to go through these quite quickly. Next slide. So positive psychology. How many of you have heard of positive psychology? Raise your hand. Is this a new idea? Positive psychology? I imagine it's new. It's relatively new everywhere. So yes, positive psychology. What's your idea? What have you heard about positive psych?
Yeah, the main idea is like
That's fine. It's a hot one, yes, go ahead.
yeah, the main idea of positive psychology will be like encouraging positive ideas to the brain to like have a positive mindset completely so that they can face every task with I can do it myself.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. That's right. Before bed, my 9-year-old always asks for another joke. And every night I come up with a new joke. And it's every night. So just on the spot, come up with some jokes. Alright, so I'm going to tell you some of them while they're getting this all set up, okay? What did the elephant say to the tree? Nice trunk. I like that one, right? It's a good one. Now I'm trying to remember all the ones. What is a baboon's favorite party favor? What is a baboon's favorite party favor? Party favor, you know, something that you see at a party. A balloon. I found my audience. Alright, positive psychology is the study of human flourishing and how to get the air conditioner working. So, human flourishing comes from a Latin word flora, flores, which means flower. So human flourishing, this is the point when you do your life's work. The idea of flourishing is when is that time in your life when you know you're doing the most important thing, and the foundation you set for that is right now. I mean, so the best thing you can do right now as a student, there are three things. One is to study hard. I mean, there's no way around it. And I want to talk about what studying and failure and all those kind of things, what that means, but we'll get to that point. Let's go to the next slide. We're going to go through these quick. So here's PERMA. This is a measure of positive psychology. Next slide. There are theories behind positive psychology: growth mindset, broaden and build, strengths-based. Next slide. Here's a study on positive psychology. Let's go to the next slide. Let's go through these quickly. There's one slide I really, really want to get to. Here we are. This is good. Okay. So here are some steps if you really want to achieve something, achieve a goal. The first thing is have a goal. How many people here have a goal? What's the goal? How many people have the goal of getting good grades? Right. How many people have the goal of making friends, making really close friends? How many people have the goal of just getting through this conversation, getting through this hour without being really bored? There's some of you out there, I see it in your faces. This is fun times. Alright, so the idea, you have a goal. You have some goal. From that goal, you develop an action plan. What's the plan of action? What's the action plan? And here's the trick, here's the key. Whenever you have a goal, you ask yourself, what's the number one action you can take? What is the number one action you can take to achieve that goal? So good grades. What's the number one action you can take to achieve the goal of good grades? Study. Right? So focus only on studying. What's the purpose of studying? What is the purpose of studying? Yes?
Sir, you should study with a fresh mind instead of a mind of pressure.
Fresh mind? Exactly. But what's the purpose of studying? Why do you study? What are you trying to do? Yes? You're trying to get knowledge. Right? So you're trying, yes? Do what? Success. Absolutely. So when you're studying, what you're trying to do is you're trying to learn. You're trying to actually learn the concept. Yes?
Achieving your goal.
Do what?
Achieving your goal.
Achieving the goals. When you're studying, what are you trying to do? Yes? The future scientist.
Sir, we study so that we can have... We study because so that we can have a good future.
A good future, absolutely. So when you're learning something, yes, or here, yeah.
We study to gain knowledge.
To gain knowledge. So when you say knowledge, right, when you're studying, how do you know that you've studied well? How do you know that you've studied well? Yes.
Examination.
By examinations, right? By the examinations that your teacher gives you, or is it the examinations that you yourself give yourself? You cover it up, right? You cover up the answer and you see if you remember the answer, right? So a lot of it is how well can you memorize something, right? So here's the deal. Here's the deal. When you're in school, because you're getting grades, there's a temptation to think that you know the material if you get a good grade, right? You look at your grades and you think, that's how I know that that's how I'm doing well. Good grades are great, but the deeper issue is, are you actually learning the material? So if you were your teacher, you ask yourself this question: if I were the teacher, right, what would I want all of my students to learn? That is the number one question that you can ask yourself as a student. You put yourself in the perspective of the teacher and you ask yourself, if I were the teacher, what would I want my students to learn? In my school, we do a life coaching school, and the philosophy is it's learn to mastery. The definition of mastery is you learn it so well that you can teach someone else how to do it. So when you're studying, if you're asking yourself, do I know this well enough that I can teach someone else how to do it? That's when you know you've learned it. So as a student, you put yourself in the perspective of a teacher. Then you monitor. You see how well you do. Is it working, not working? If it's not working, then you evaluate, and you change, and you try to figure out what works next. It's not that there are different kinds of failure. There's failure because you didn't try, and there's failure because you tried and it didn't work. Which failure is the better kind of failure?
The failure when we work.
Yes. The failure where you worked hard and still fail, that is totally fine. That's failure that you actually want. You want to avoid that kind of failure. What about the failure because you didn't try? What about that kind of failure?
So that is the failure that we deserve.
Yeah. I like that answer. I like that answer. I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that later. I'm taking that home with me. I like that. Yeah, thank you for that. It's a failure. It's the kind of failure that you deserve. All right, next slide. All right, then crafted with a teacher's experience. So I taught for 6 years. I taught Latin for 6 years, 2 years in Rhode Island and 4 years in Southern Oregon, in that little shire that you saw. And next slide. And out of that came the Academic Life Coaching Program. So about 30 different concepts split up over 10 sessions. We look at everything from learning styles, core motivation. A lot of what we're going to do here today. Next slide. Next slide. Let's just burn through these really quick. Next slide. Next slide. All right. 3 challenges. Raise your hand if you experience these challenges. The first challenge is how many people here from time to time get stressed out about your grades? Yes. These are all people who tell the truth. How many here are anxious about your future plans? What you might do in the future? How many people here feel some anxiousness about your future plans? That's right. And then how many people here sometimes feel frustrated in their relationships? Like there's a teacher that's frustrating you, a friend that's frustrating you, parents who frustrate you, friends. That's it. These are the big 3. Big 3. All right, next slide. Let's explore some of these firsthand. I realize most of you have paper, so we're going to do this. We're going to do some coaching exercises. And then I'm going to have a volunteer come up as well. We're going to do some active volunteering. All right, so next slide. The Wheel of Life. I would like each of you in your notebooks to make a date. Put your name, date, draw a circle, and then divide the circle into 8 pie slices like this. And then to monitor that. Alright, and then from a scale of 1 to 10, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, 1 being the worst, rate your level of satisfaction with this area in your life. How satisfied are you with this area? 10 being the highest, 1 being the lowest. It's not a priority, so you could have, let's say, 3 or 4 9s, or you could have a 10 in there. How satisfied are you? 1 to 10. Yes. So it's how satisfied you are. It doesn't mean how, it's just how happy you are with it. I'm trying to remember more jokes from my 9-year-old. I have it on my phone. Yeah, I'm trying to think of it. We have to come up with a new one every night. You know, he said every night, some of them are just bad. You know what I mean? Some of them are bad. I got one for you. I got another joke. And then we need a volunteer to come up. We need a volunteer to come up in there. So why do you go to bed? Why do you go to bed? Because the bed's not going to come to you.
That's a good one.
Every night. Back, yes. All right. So looking at your wheel, right? Can you give the mic? All right. Thanks for volunteering. So looking at your wheel, here's your wheel. All right. Looking at your wheel, just looking at it, what jumps out to you? What jumps out to you? Your growth. What does, on a scale of 1 to 10, what did you rate your growth as?
I would go like that.
It was what?
You understand?
A 10. Absolutely. What are you excited about? Or why did you rate it a 10?
I needed it because maybe about the future, like school is so knowledge, that's the thing going forward.
You're looking forward to college? What are you looking at in college?
I get like completely mass education.
A mass communication degree?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So if you're looking at your life, right, the challenges you're facing right now, what is life asking you to do? Like what's your life asking you to learn?
Basically everything is nonsense as well. We don't have that.
And you don't have what? I didn't catch the middle part.
Basically everything that comes in the syllabus. We don't have any other choice.
So you have no other choice. I have the syllabus.
Yeah.
Right? Do you have access to Google?
Sorry?
You have access to the Google, right? To Google.
Yeah.
Internet. You have access. So why are you letting the syllabus limit you?
Like the syllabus are only things that's like make us move forward. Like Google, if you search for something like something I don't know, then it's not going to come with examinations. Like basically a syllabus is going to be the main thing that's going to be you. Like something that's going to be like important, like a main factor inside the part of life. That's why.
That's right. So the syllabus comes from a Great Latin where it means track. Right? It just basically means racetrack. It's where it's the journey that you're going to go on, right? Like curriculum. Curry means like around, and curriculum means to run. So this idea of a syllabus, a curriculum, if you're looking at, we're almost there. So you want to be a mass communication major. If you were a teacher of mass communication and you were trying to have your students learn something, what would be the one thing that you would really want your students to do?
Like the first thing I would want as a teacher is like they learn with fun, because just sitting there without any like no interest in that means like make studies no fun, like learning studies fun because you're just sitting over there. Now that won't be on my question. What would be out there?
Okay, that's excellent. That's an excellent start. Thank you. We're going to build off that next. Thank you. All right. So let's go to the next slide. Let's go one more slide. Okay. So we're going to take a little bit of a leap here, and I don't know if this exercise is going to work with this group. This could be a complete disaster, or it could be amazing. And we're going to find out in the next 5 minutes. So we're just going to try this. All right, here's what we're going to do. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to get your wheel out. You're going to get your wheel out. So get your wheels out. All right. And you're going to turn in groups of 2. You're going to turn in groups of 2. And then you're going to ask each other these questions. Alright, and here's the rules. Here's the rules. Alright? So here are the rules. Only one person is the question asker, and the other person is the answerer. For 2 minutes, and then we're going to switch. So if you're the question asker, you can only ask these 4 questions. That's it. You're only allowed to ask these 4 questions. The person answering the question, you can just go ahead and answer however you want. You have 2 minutes, and then we're going to switch.
All 4 questions to be the other one. After he finishes answering all 4 questions, then he can ask the same questions to his friend or her friend.
Yeah.
Listen everyone.
What the first question means is if there are 8 components of the wheel, something in that wheel is drawing your attention, right? Either it is a low score, or it is a completely high score, or it is a medium, whichever way that you have marked it. Assuming if friends is a big concern for you, if grades are a big concern for you, what concerns you, that's what jumps in, right? That's what it means. Next.
Alright, question 1 says that after writing all the numbers in the wheel, which particular area jumps out from that wheel, that you are scoring very low in one thing or very high in one thing. That is question 1. Question 2 is from this entire wheel, what did you learn about yourself? And question 3 is how question 1 and 2 are related to each other.
As in small groups. That was a beautiful experiment. Real quick, how did it go? Let's have this here for maybe 1 or 2 people.
Any pair want to share their answers? Any pair who has written these answers beautifully and want to share?
Does anyone want to share? If not, we can keep going.
Gail and Anish, I want you to share your answers.
According to my wheel of life, all the areas that I mark, what jumps out at me is like when we come to school, we are here for 8 hours or so, and we are studying. And when we go home, our parents come and tell us, okay, go quickly, have a bath, change your clothes, come back, have a snack, and then sit down to study. And we already, when we come back from school, it's really hot. Our bags are seriously heavy. So we are completely all zonked up, and yet our parents tell us that we have to keep on studying. So in my view of life, what jumps up at me is like I just want to have fun because I've already studied. And I don't believe that if I study like for 3 hours straight, that means in my final exam I'm going to get a 75 above. Even if I study for even 1 hour, but if I study that 1 hour in a very focused and a concentrated manner, it is equivalent to 3 hours of non-focused study.
Thank you. That's perfectly it. And here's the thing, that's an excellent answer. And here's the thing, studying can be fun if you know that you're doing it. So the study, like that focus study you're talking about, I imagine you're having fun when you're in that focus study. Right? That's the key. And the other thing too is when you're in school, you're surrounded by all your friends. Right? You're surrounded by your peers. When you think about it, the rest of your life will not be like this. Like you go off and get a job, you'll have friends there too, but in school, you are so incredibly lucky to be in school to have teachers who are putting in all of this effort to devote, all of this time and effort. When you think about school from a teacher perspective, you have trained professionals who are giving you this knowledge day after day. And so I have a couple things. One thing is thank your teachers. Right? Thank your teachers. Thank your parents. When they tell you to go study, say thank you for reminding me and see what happens. You want to try that for a week? Try that for a week and let me know. Seriously, if you email me, if anyone Googles me and emails me, I will email you back. That's the week experiment. Okay? So here we go. Ready? Next slide. We're going to go through a couple of them. Next slide. Until we get to the growth mindset. Let's go under. Oh, I can't see it. Does it come through? It's too bright. It's not. Alright, we'll just go through academic thinking stuff then. It's okay. Let's go back 2 slides. We can improvise. Backwards 2 slides. Backwards. There we go, there we go. What thinkers? Okay, so how many people here appreciate names, dates, and definitions? Like when you're studying something, how many people like to know the names, dates, and definitions of something? Right, how many what thinkers do we have? Wow, that's impressive. That's really nice. All right. Let's go to the next slide. How many why thinkers do we have? How many people like to know the reasons or why something is the way it is? Yeah, you get enthusiasm for why. And then how many people are how thinkers? Let's go to the next slide. How many people like the steps, process, action steps? Just tell me how I do it. So when you're studying, which one of these approaches is most important? Right? Alright, so here's the raise your hand if you think it's what? Raise your hand if you think it's what? Okay, okay. Raise your hand if you think it's why. Alright, that's not bad. How many people think it's how? The steps, definitions? That's about right. That's about the breakdown that, statistically speaking, that you see. The difference between what, why, and how. Here's the deal. Here's the deal. Each of those three approaches is equally important. So the bad news is, or good news, is that you have to become good at all three of them. You have to become good at all three. But here's the deal. A lot of your teachers, they don't know which of these three styles they like the best either. Your teachers generally like one of those three styles. So teachers, right, in the back, which style do you like most? Which is your favorite style?
I generally start with why, then how, and then at the end what.
Absolutely. Why, how, other teachers, same, similar? Which style do you go with?
My first step is how, and then what, and then what.
Yep, that's it, that's it. So here's the deal, and by the way, your country makes the best tea I've ever had. It's the herbs they put in it, it's the spices, right? It's not the milk and sugar is one thing, but it's the cardamom, I think, that's what it is. Alright, here's the deal. Here's the deal. Your teachers are going to come at it from a certain style. You have teachers who are going to be why thinkers, but let's say you're a what thinker or a how thinker. And there's going to be a mismatch. Whenever there's a mismatch like that, you might not understand your teacher, and your teacher might not understand you. But if you understand your thinking styles, it's a key to help you understand all the teachers you'll ever have from now until you're in college. And hopefully a decade from now you'll look back at this moment and think, this was the key that unlocked everything for me. Maybe, we'll see. We'll plant that seed 10 years later, we'll see what happens. Now let's go, let's try again. Let's try growth mindset. I imagine we have 10 minutes left. No, let's keep going through, yeah, keep going. No, sorry, go back the other way. Yeah, no, it's in between there. No, the other way, the other way. No, go back the other way. It's the one that says growth mindset. There it is. No, you can't see what's written there, can you? I can't barely see it either. Alright, I know. Okay, so here's the deal. So, growth mindset, a fixed mindset, skills and intelligence. How many people think that you have an ability, like, you know, how good you are in math, that some people are simply born, like, better in math than others? Alright, so here's the deal. This is what I'll do. This is what we're going to do. I'm going to record this in a little video, and your teachers can choose to show you this growth mindset video. Because I think this is so important that I really want you to get it. We have only 5 minutes left, so let's do this. Let's do this. Let's have 2 questions, and then we'll end the presentation It has been an absolute pleasure to spend this time with you this afternoon. And I hope that you look back decades from now and think, this is the moment that you got a few takeaways that have changed the way that you approach your academics. Thank you for being an amazing audience. Thanks for laughing at the negative jokes. I'm trying to think more of them in my head. They're not coming right away. And write your journals. All right, write in that journal and it will save your intellectual self. Time for 2 questions, maybe 3. Who has a question?
So like if you are a very talented sportsman, so if you are a very talented sports person and want to think of making a career out of it, then especially during the final examinations, then mostly we are told that no, you will have to study because the final exams are approaching. So during the final examinations time, what should be our focus? The studies or the sports?
Both. Yeah, the focus should be both. I mean, the two go hand in hand. If you focus as much on your studies, what happens is you get the energy from your studies, right? Like you said, if you just study for 1 hour in that focus study, you can do more in that 1 hour of focus study. So if you really want to do well in sports, you also want to do well in your studies, so that when you're in your sport, you're not thinking about, oh, my studies are falling apart. And the same approach, that same level of devotion that you apply to sports, if you take that same devotion and apply it to studies, there's no reason why you can't do both.
So who motivated you to go for this academic life coaching?
That's a great question. Who motivated me? Right? So I started out as so I studied Latin and Greek in college because I wanted to be a writer. And I got a job teaching when I was in college. And I thought to myself, I love teaching, I love working with students. This is what I was born to do. And then I found coaching. And I thought to myself, life coaching is going to be the future of education. Because what happens in coaching is you explore your internal world. And right now, when you're growing up, you're trying to figure out the external world. But there's a journey that you have to take, and only you can take it. Each one of us is in a world where we're alone, where there's only one set of footprints. And in that one set of footprint world, when you take that journey, you realize things about yourself. You find out things that you like and things you don't like. But what life coaching does is it helps you on that journey. And what I know to be true is when you find yourself, when you find what you're born to do in this world, the feeling is unmistakable and it's overwhelming. And my biggest hope for you, my blessing for you on this is very soon, one day, I hope you find what you were born to do and you find yourself. And you move forward with confidence, joy, and love. Thank you. All right, one more question.
Sir, who inspired you to write books?
Who inspired me to write books? When I was in 7th grade, when I was 12 years old, I started reading books, like really reading books. And I remember walking through a library thinking, I want to be an author. So right now, it's a little known project. I'm actually working, so I have an 11-year-old. She reads books more. She's one of the fastest readers I know. Do you know The Hobbit? You know Tolkien, Lord of the Rings? Has anyone read Lord of the Rings? We have some Lord of the Rings? Yes! She read The Lord of the Rings in about a week. That's how fast, it's really fast. So I'm writing a novel for her when she turns 12. She doesn't even know it yet, it's a secret. And I'm only telling you this because it's halfway across the world, and there's no way you're going to read it. Her birthday's in June, and that's 6 months away. And I'm actually working with a coach, meeting with a coach weekly to craft this book. So I'm writing it because the world needs to know that empathy matters. The world needs to know that listening and understanding and love matters, and that's why I'm writing the book. Thank you. All right, one more question, yes.
Good afternoon, sir. what do you think is the best way to deal with criticism?
Okay, best way to deal with criticism is to say thank you.
Wow. Nice.
That's it. That's all you have to say. Just say thank you for your feedback. Thank you for your feedback, and that's all. You do not owe criticism a response. You don't. But you do owe criticism gratitude. Do we have some logistics to? Someone should take over.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Just last question I have to ask. That you are taking too many lectures now. So were you afraid of your first lecture, like public speaking? Were you afraid of public speaking when you had your first lecture?
No, I was never afraid of public speaking.
No, now you're taking lectures, right?
I do a lot of lectures. The only time I was ever afraid was I did stand-up comedy in Portland, where I'm from, and there was a competition to be like the best stand-up comic in Portland. And this is 2012, a couple years ago now, and I was terrified. I was totally terrified. It was the most terrifying 6 minutes of my life. Yeah. So I think, but after you see a room of 7th graders, nothing scares you. I mean, you'd have to go and do a lot to scare you. But thank you guys. Yeah. That's great.
Yeah, thank you, John. That was amazing. And John is my coach, so it has been inspiring listening to him. And we don't have enough time. You guys have enough time, so out of the number of things that he said, can some of you tell me one takeaway, one idea that came to you by listening to him?
Sir, the thank you idea to criticism. That was one of the best ones I had. So I learned how to, control your psychology, your mental fitness, not to, not to just, get, be defeated by the pressure from grades or doing well. Instead, just to have fun and not, just be taken over with pressure.
Okay. We have to right here. We'll come back to you. Just one minute. Yeah, so we are based here. So John is visiting us, from Oregon. So you can get in touch with us. We probably arrange another session for you where we can introduce you to more detailed stuff. And let me leave the gentleman now.
The best feedback for me was when sir said that when parents tell us to study, you have to give them thanks for reminding.
Okay. That's not a great concept. He mentioned, okay, this is, I have to share with you. Mr. John Andrew Williams mentioned gratitude, right? Be thankful. Yeah, so you gotta be thankful to parents, to teachers, to school, to yourself, to your friends, and your family, right? These are your support system, right? Nobody's gonna take you away from that. And you have to rely on that support system to go forward. So that being said, sport and study, don't differentiate them so much. So yeah, that's also great. And I'm sure you guys will add a lot of value to your lives by sharing what you've learned here. And thanks a lot.
So children, did you like it all? So I think what we should do is that we must give them a loud applause and a big hand. It is a proud moment for students, teachers and parents to have the author of life coaching all the way coming from first time in India and spending 3 days with us. That's really great. Thank you, George. You're really, really lucky. And we express our heartfelt gratitude for
अतुल भाई आगड़ना चाहता
I started right.